Erin here with Erin Makes, and today we are going to make some at-home filtered cold brew using our cold brew maker as well as a paper filter. So come along. The coffee beans that we use are actually from our local grocery store. These are French vanilla flavored and they're not decaf, but you can use any coffee beans that you want. We're also going to use a grinder today. This is just a container we keep them in. I can put the link in bio, but I believe it's from Amazon. But it keeps the coffee fresh, which is great. First, we're gonna grind our coffee and then we're gonna put it into the cold brew maker. So we normally do around 1 full cup of the ground, I guess, into the cold brew maker, maybe a little bit more, just depending on how much we're gonna make. Normally when I grind the coffee, I like to do small grinds instead of one big one. I think it helps get the beans more finely ground than otherwise. The next items we need are our funnel and our cold brew filter that comes with the cold brew maker. This is a cold brew maker from Amazon. It's called the Takeya cold brew maker. I'll put the link in the bio. You can see that we use the funnel because otherwise it would be pretty messy. I'm quite experienced at doing this now, but I do not recommend just kind of having the filter standing up if you are worried about knocking it over, because what we don't want to do is spill all of our coffee. And we're gonna do, we can see that this is about halfway full. You can see there's extra room there, so we're gonna do around one more half container of grinding. I've also been asked for a small review on this Takeya cold brew maker. I think it's great. It works great. It's glass, which I really like. It's not plastic, so I think it works really well. I like to do the paper filter afterwards just so that it's very filtered out coffee, but it still honestly just tastes excellent and typically better than some of the coffee shops we go to here in New York. So that finishes off our French vanilla. Let's see if we have any more. Just kidding. When we first got this, we weren't sure if we needed a fancy grinder, and the answer we found is no, you really don't need one. It's fine just to grind it with any grinder that you have. And you know, if you're very into coffee, you could definitely get a nicer grinder, but I found that this Amazon Basics one works perfectly fine. So round 2. So we fill it just to about the line, and that looks good for us. And again, if you're making less cold brew and gonna put less water in, then you don't need to do that. I'm gonna fill this with some cold water up to maybe right around here on the cold brew filter. And again, I just eyeball it every time. We're gonna use filtered water from the fridge. So now that we have this ready, we have our water filled. We're actually gonna attach this into the lid and then we will put it into our water. Here's our lid. And you'll hear it click just like that. And now we'll put our cold brew into here. See if it spills. Yeah, just about at the top, nice. So what I like about the Takeya cold brew maker is since it locks up here, we can shake it pretty aggressively before we put it in the fridge, and that'll help really move all the cold brew around. You're supposed to do that. So what will happen here is we're gonna shake this, we'll put it away in the fridge, and then we're gonna come back in about 12 hours. We're gonna shake it in between if we feel like it. If you don't do that, it ends up being pretty much the same in my opinion. So Amazing. We'll be back in 12 hours, but for you, it'll feel like a second. We now have completed cold brew. It's a little bit later and it's been 24 hours, so we are going to pour this out. I found that with homemade cold brew, it can be sometimes helpful to do an extra filtering step, which is taking a paper coffee filter and filtering it. There's a couple different ways you can do this with a funnel, or I also have a French press here. So we can choose to filter it or not with the paper filter. I'm actually not going to filter it today, but it's super easy. You can just put the paper filter into your French press or put it on top of a funnel, pour it over. It'll take a little while. Since it is nighttime, I'm not going to pour a full cup of this cold brew. I'm going to save it for tomorrow morning, but we can make ourselves a little mini glass of it right now. Cheers. I filled this up a little bit too much. I added a little bit of French vanilla, so let's see how it is. That's very, very good. This cold brew maker makes us about 2 full cups of cold brew, which you really don't need every morning, but sometimes you have a little bit of a longer day, but really highly recommend it. I'll put the link in the bio. And yeah, it's really easy to make and you can make it every 12 hours. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I post new videos every single week. Cheers.